Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, J.A., and I'm joined by a couple of legends in the studio, Richie Garraway, Darren Johnstone, not Johnson.
Thanks, mate.
These on the spot every week, and I nail them every week.
What's ironic is that my dad still pronounces it Johnson. But yes, no, Darren Johnstone here, and very happy. The one who actually gave me that name pronounces it Johnson. So,
Johnstone.
Hot take.
Such a powerful name. Such a powerful name. Richie, now that we know the heritage of DJ's dad, how was your week?
Fantastic, mate. Lots of good games today. It was a very good week of football.
Your team was a winner.
Sure.
My team was a winner.
DJ?
My team will be a winner in 2022's draft.
Not with your GM.
I was worried about that game, DJ. I was real worried about it. And you know what? I
was super excited.
All worry was gone in the first quarter. I never thought they were going to lose. Never worried about it.
I was super excited in the first quarter until the end of the first quarter. And that was about it. And then I was just super excited for football in general.
Division games, though.
Division games.
Can't mess with them. Don't mess with division games.
Last time I checked, you needed a quarterback to actually win a game typically. And I don't think we had anyone. I don't think Glennon is going to be finishing any games for any winning teams this year. Hot take.
He's not the next big thing, you don't think?
He's got a big neck, if that's what you're saying.
We're not doing a Giants game tonight, but how bad do you feel for Saquon, just quietly? That sucks.
You kind of get into the show without doing all the things you normally need to do, but I hate to say it. His career could be done.
Might never be the same.
Worthwhile an second overall pick, though, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely. Always take running backs top 5. That's my motto.
Oh, look, it looks like a low ankle sprain. So I'm not too sure of the difference between a high or a low ankle sprain, but I know low ankle sprain is less weeks.
About 6 centimeters.
Yeah, the low ankle sprain's down low and the high ankle sprain's up higher on the ankle. As someone who works in the medical field, I assumed you would know that, but don't worry.
What about the recovery rates? Yeah, good old Chippy.
The recovery rates, you've got me there. I don't know. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair one. Let's quickly though.
Saquon and the stinky Giants are in trouble, so we'll move on from the poor old Giants.
Big trouble. And let's move on to our beautiful sponsors, Burnley Brewing. Freedom Day is coming in Melbourne. We've broken the record for longest time in lockdown, but it is coming. And when it does, get yourself into Burnley Brewing for a cold beer, a hot meal. Their Parma's got a special going on with their Parmas at the moment. I think it was like $15 for a Parma. Oh, any of their Parmas, and their food's outstanding. It's not like a crappy pub Parma that I got tonight. It's really good. So yeah, get around that. Also, Dark Horse Electric, thanks to my good mate Dylan. Need any electrical work done, contact Dark Horse Electrics, all their social medias, all everything below. Get around them, look after them. And finally, ussportsgear.com.au. You need any equipment for the upcoming football season in Australia, hit up whoever runs that. Not sure who, wouldn't know. Might be Richie, might be someone else. I don't know. Probably Richie, though. And get yourself some gear. Best prices guaranteed in Australia. I can actually justify that. They are definitely the best prices. I've shopped around because I don't trust Richie at all.
I wouldn't.
I don't trust him, so I looked around, and now I trust him. So get around it. I think that's it for the intro. Oh, the Patreon. I'll bring it up later. When Richie starts talking, I'll go and grab it because I've got it over there in a box. Because notice I cleaned the studio up, guys. See in the video?
I was going to say no. I didn't notice at all.
No, it's all neat. Stuff cleaned up. Okay.
No.
That was a waste of time.
Not really, mate. Sorry. Look, you do have some fancy helmets behind you.
No, I don't. They're not mine. I'm borrowing them. None of them are mine. Okay, if anyone asks, none of them are mine.
Clearly off to a flying start.
Richie, get us into it.
Absolutely. We're starting the show. John Gruden is in a little bit of hot water over an old email with racist, I'm going to call them overtones. They weren't exactly undertones. DJ, is this going to slowly disappear with the apology, or is this going to blow up?
I'm actually thinking that with the current state of affairs in the entire world, that it's going to stick around. Don't forget that he's now towards the end of a pretty big tenure there at Las
No,
Vegas.
he's not. He's at the
He's
start.
not even halfway through.
He's
Isn't he?
8
He's on a 10-year.
got-
He's on a 10-year,
Yeah.
and
Hasn't
he's
even been
now
there
up
years
ago.
halfway.
No.
Oh, that's not
been
actually a long
2
time at
years.
all. It feels like he's been there a lot longer for some reason. Maybe it's all the fun stuff that's happened at the Las
It
Vegas
does.
Raiders in the past few years.
I think that's the
Um,
problem.
so-
3.
Like he's been there forever.
Well, basically, look, I actually interviewed Josh Jacobs as well, and he said, "Well, I've been around this guy for 3 years now. I've never felt a certain type of way about him." And they basically, a lot of the news agencies have actually been going and speaking to as many of the teammates as they can to see if they've ever felt racist connotations towards them, and they all actually say that they haven't at all. So theoretically, I would hope that logic would win out here and that these things wouldn't actually continue on. But knowing how today's society is and the Twitter demons and all those things, I unfortunately think that it might actually tarnish at least this period of time at the Las Vegas Raiders. J.A., what do you reckon? I know that you like a bit of controversy.
I think it's like this is obviously a really, really touchy subject because like we don't understand that sort of racism. We don't understand what black people have gone through. I think no one does but black people. So I try and not pretend to understand that because a lot of people do, and I think it's stupid. I don't get it. But if he had made a comment about the appearance of, a white guy, this would not be a big deal. And and this is just my lack of understanding in the situation, right? Why? And I get the history. I understand that all. But when will we get to the point of like equality, right? Where that comment, like it's rude and you shouldn't say that about anyone. You shouldn't call anyone fat. You shouldn't comment on anyone's appearance or anything like that. When are we going to get to the point when it's the same no matter what we do? Like if he called we've seen John Gruden in TV shows, yeah, right? He is pretty rude. He's pretty abrupt, and he's very much attacks people's personal appearance. We've seen it. He does it to lots of people. I've seen him call refs fat and ugly, call his players fat, all that sort of stuff. When's it going to become just the norm that we just don't talk to anyone that way, and we just treat everyone with that respect? You know what I mean? Like it's becoming. This is a big deal because of the connotation that it lumps. And what did you call it, Rich? The underlying. It's not really underlying, but
I called it overtones.
Overtone, yeah. And the casual racism of America that they're just racist in the core. And I want to get to the point in life where we don't have to blow this stuff up, that we don't treat anyone this way. We don't call anyone, we don't comment on anyone's appearance or anyone's look or anyone's style. It's hard. Like we just got to stop doing it in full stop.
The biggest thing here is this is old. Like he didn't do this last week. This is like from
10 years ago.
2011. It's 10 years ago.
He wasn't even working on an NFL team, which means NFL can't actually have any sanctions against him.
Yeah, so he was working for ESPN at the time. And look, it's not cool. But I would think this is going to go away. I actually think it will go away relatively quickly. Because it's like when someone becomes and I'm going to make something up. So JA becomes the face of Burnley Brewing. And then somebody else goes through his entire Twitter timeline and finds the one thing he posted 15 years ago where he has a comment with racial undertones to whoever. I really hate that there was an English cricketer that got embroiled in one recently. It's just like, first off,
college kids all the time.
Yeah, if you ever become a public figure, scrub that stuff. Just delete your account if you ever become famous. But I really hate it, the digging through really ancient stuff and bringing it up. He's apologized. I actually don't think John Gruden would be racist in any way. He's been in the NFL far too long to survive if he was. Yeah. There's a time where I'm sure you could very easily got away with those kind of views. Especially want to go back to the 60s and earlier, and God, probably even the 70s and 80s. You can't now. So I do, for his sake, I do hope this go away. And I hope it's no longer even a footnote. Especially when the person was about isn't here to defend themselves. So, yeah.
Did you hear his press conference afterwards? What he said?
No, I haven't. No.
He basically said, and this is what I think, and I believe it. He said that what he said was wrong, 100%, and he shouldn't have said it. But it was an attack at his personal appearance, not at his race. So, and I get how it's been perceived, and I understand that, and it's very fair to be perceived that way. But he's saying, I didn't say it to be racist. I said it because I wanted to pick on the guy because I was angry at the guy. And that's what I thought. I'm going to pick on this physical feature of his, like calling someone fat. Like that's all it was. That's what I meant it as. And he said, I understand how it's perceived and I understand it's wrong. And since 2011, a lot of things have changed in the world. And it has. We've had massive changes in that area. So I actually do believe him, and I'm with you. I think this. I don't think it goes away. I think he'll probably get sanctioned. I think he'll probably have to do some training, some official things around it that the NFL will enforce because that's what they do. But I think in terms of him, he's probably the least of people's worries in terms of racism. I really do believe that.
Yeah, he also said they were context as well, and he actually was saying that he used the term rubber lips as someone who was actually lying or deceitful. And at that point in time, there was a lockout, and he was frustrated with the actual lockout negotiations. So he said that unfortunately that it was actually directed at the individual and the physical appearance, but it had actual context that he was actually speaking about his actual character. So fingers crossed it does get swept under. But it is, I think, parroting your point, Rich, it's ridiculous that they go so deep into finding ridiculous points like this to undermine someone's character.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to think we're trying to defend the action here. I think he's going to take his whack, which is probably good. But it's like all these things, just be smarter before you hit send and all these things. Like,
don't put anything on paper anymore.
If you want to think something cool, think it. If that's who you are, like, okay, like it's not really cool, but if you don't want the blowback, don't write this stuff down. Like, it's really that simple. And as you said, Jay, let's just treat each other better.
That's the thing. Just treat everyone the same way. Like whether they're black, Asian, white, whatever, everyone the same. Just don't make comments about anyone. If your mates was not like Richie, we rag DJ, you're the same. We rag at each other about our appearance and that because we know we're friends. I wouldn't say things I say to you to random people in the street or people at work. It's rude and they would be offended by it because we don't know each other. Like, just treat everyone like you don't know them, and you're going to be. If it might hurt their feelings, just don't say it.
The difference is, Joe, that doesn't get clicks, and that doesn't get reads, and that doesn't get reactions, and that's not the media. So
it's that gotcha mentality.
That's it.
Either way, we will be moving on. Turning back to Thursday night, we actually snuck this one in because it's pretty important. Russell Wilson has injured his finger and has required surgery. He will miss 4 to 6 weeks, and they lost. My favorite part of this was realizing Gino was still in the NFL. My apologies, Gino. I had no idea because Russell Wilson never misses games. Apparently, you've been there for years. J.A., how much does this really hurt the Seahawks' chances?
This is everything. But NFC West, they're not a great defense. They're okay. They're not great, though. They certainly can't hide behind a strong defense and an unbelievable running game. They're pretty middle of the pack in that area. They now, with a poor offensive line, you're going to lose Russell Wilson's mobility. Teams are going to stack up on you so you can't run the ball as effectively because I think Carson and Alex Collins have been good, but not great. So they're not dominant enough to then run through that. They're not like the real good running teams in the NFL, the Cowboys at the moment, like what they did to the Panthers. They can just line up and go, we're going to beat you. We're going to run over you. We don't care how many you have in here. The Seahawks don't have that. They don't have that luxury. Now they've got Geno Smith, who, he looked great until he threw the game-losing interception, which is what most backup quarterbacks are. They're fine until they're relied upon to win a game for you, and then they can't do it. It's why they're backups. It's why guys like Mitchell Trubisky are backups in Buffalo, That's the next level, being able to win football games for your team. And he doesn't have that. And then, as I said, average to bad defense, receivers that need to get downfield to be effective. Metcalf, Lockett, they're downfield threats. They're not elite route runners that'll get open and beat coverage. They're guys that'll get open with speed and athleticism. All that compiled together and bearing the lead, they're in the NFC West, which is an unbelievable division where a team like the 49ers now look like they might not make the playoffs. And I think they win almost any other division in the NFC. They're in real trouble. Real trouble.
DJ, let me throw this at you. If he's going to miss 5 games, mate, they've got coming up the Seahawks. They are the Seahawks. They got the Steelers, the Saints. Too many S's. The Steelers, the Saints, the Jags, the Packers, and then the Cardinals. Let's say he just misses 5. There could be a lot of losses in there.
Imagine, Rich, if because of Gina, because to be honest with you, I completely agree with Jay, is that Russell Wilson is the winning criteria here at Seahawks, because he actually keeps a play alive. Which Geno Atkins, I watched a lot of Geno when he was the backup at the Giants, and he can keep the play alive. He just doesn't have any accuracy on the run, and I think that's going to really hurt the Seahawks offense and their firepower. Chris Carson's carrying an injury. He was out last week, and he's probably going to be out for a couple of weeks potentially, looking at the medical report. Alex Collins has only really developed into his first starting as a running back from when he came across from, I think it was Baltimore, but don't quote me. And so, unfortunately, they got banged up on all of their actual weapons on offense. Unless Geno can show that in the past few years has been the backup there at the Seahawks, he's learned a few things about how to play like Russell Wilson. I don't think he has. I think they might even drop a few games to say some of the worst teams, like the Saints, aren't really what we think is a very strong team at the moment, but the Saints could easily beat the Seahawks right now. I think from those 5 games you just mentioned, I think the only absolute 100% win is still the Jags. The rest of them could go either way, and I think that they're going to get smacked on the home stretch.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being oh dear God, Jay, how worried are you about the Seahawks? Number
5, and
DJ?
I'll tell you why.
Oh,
Because
8.
if they get him back by the time they play the Cardinals, which is in 6 weeks, they're okay. I think they can beat the Jags. I think they can beat the Steelers. I think they lose to the Saints and the Seahawks. So Saints, I'm doing you, Richie, the Saints and the Packers. And if they get him back to the Cardinals, I don't think they can beat the Cardinals with him, but it gives them a much better chance at home to beat the Cardinals. Then you've got Washington, 49ers at home, Texans, Rams at LA, but then you've got Bears at home, Lions at home, and then Cardinals. You can stretch that through, but I don't know.
Don't forget the division that they're playing in, JA.
But they've already played a bunch of their division games.
Yeah, they have. It's a really interesting. Their slate is really interesting. They've got some real powder puffs towards the end, and their seasons will be shot by then. So they've actually got a few easy wins back ended. But the problem is, by the time they get there, there might be no room left to make a mistake. And even trying to pinch a wild card late, there's a couple of better teams in the NFC than we thought than there actually was. So it can't be long. If they can get him back in 4 weeks, and by all accounts, Russell Wilson's a pretty tough dude. He'll tape it together and do what he needs to do to get back out on the field. If they drop all 4, gee whiz, look out. But, as you said, DJ, hopefully, Geno's got a little bit left in him. As I said, when he came in, I was genuinely excited. Like, I couldn't believe he was still in the league. I was actually shocked. I felt bad. Oh, now speaking of guys I hadn't seen in ages, you might need to play where off the topics drop.
Yeah.
So I was watching TCU play Texas Tech this week, and it was actually on ESPN, which was a nice treat. And we smacked them, which was even better. Do you know who the special comments guy was on our game?
No, I have no idea.
It was Robert Griffin III. And he was great.
Bobby
he was great.
He just signed that contract
when he
just
came
the start
on
of the year.
I was so excited, and I was like so G'd up. My wife was like, "You're acting like an idiot. You shouldn't be this excited for a former quarterback." Commenting, he was loving it. He was full of life, giving really good takes. Thank you, Jay. I enjoyed it.
Bobby 36 is great.
I was so happy to see him there. I'm glad he's getting work, because he should have had a so much better career, and the Shanahans destroyed his knee.
No, not the Shanahan. The Shanahan. The head Shanahan.
Singular.
The jerk Shanahan.
Send him back in. But I wish he'd played in the league for 10 years, because he could have been so exciting. He was a superior athlete than Lamar Jackson. He was a better thrower than Lamar Jackson. He could have been.
I don't know if he was a better athlete than Lamar.
Yes, he was. He was
a freak.
People are forgetting how good he was. And he could have been anything. And it was a shame. And I saw him on my TV this weekend. And I was really happy for him. Anyway, moving on. We're going to get into a segment. As you guys know, we like to do a different one every single week. They are who we thought they were. DJ,
not doing Neil?
Oh, sorry. Tweets from Neil. It wasn't in the rundown. I forgot all about it.
Messages from Neil.
Messages from Neil, our favorite Steelers fan, who got a win this week. So I'm sure he was up and about, JA. Let us have it.
So he said the game was never in doubt, which I thought was funny. And then So he's told me I can't laugh during it because I ruin his punchlines. And I explained to him that they're very funny and I find it hard to get through without laughing, but I'll try really hard. Early season report card, the Vault Studio. JAC. Host the show professionally, creative segments and player knowledge unreal. Who the hell knows O-lineman's name? Area for improvement, the English language. Richard C.
Fair.
Always insightful, explains the technical aspects of the game. Area of improvement, completely biased against the Steelers, hates Tomlin and Big Ben. Has never thanked me for always getting him open. DJ C. The balance of the show. Sees the positive in the teams over the negatives. Area for improvement. Reads like he's on SBS News. Not sure if the Chargers played well, if there was an earthquake in Tunisia. Steelers are back, you bums.
Why is he taking shots at us?
That's fucking hilarious.
He's Neil, our poor friend Neil's obviously moved to the point where he doesn't know what to say about the Steelers, so he's just going to attack us every week, and I'm for it.
Perfect.
I'm loving it.
It's something I think. Oh, I've said millions of times. I don't know if Tomlin's a good coach. I maybe should just move on before I put myself in even deeper.
Chill. Thank you, Neil. We appreciate it.
Thank you for that, Skitty. I appreciate the feedback.
He's just a more successful version of the clapper. Moving on. They are who we thought they were. We're going to take a look at two teams each. Pretty much confirming things that we already thought. DJ, we're going to start with you. The Giants.
Yes. Oh my God. So look, my quote from today was actually the Giants, they are shit. And to be fair, when I was listening to the prediction show all the way in preseason, the Giants, you guys gave them a little bit of stick, and I had to accept that, thinking that, no, don't worry, Daniel Jones, Barkley's back, Kadarius Toney is going to be an all-pro receiver. We've got offensive linemen. Our defense is looking okay. We've picked up a few people in the back line. McKinney's coming back in, thinking that we're actually going to have a bit of firepower there. And I was completely wrong. They are a dumpster fire. We are dumpster truck fire running down the street, setting fire to all of New York. And they are 1-3. I guess my question is, today they lost their QB for concussion protocol. They lost Saquon Barkley for at least a week or two because of another ankle injury. They've got all of their number one, say apart from Golladay, they've got their wide receivers are all injured. Their defense was crap to begin with. I don't see the Giants winning another game all year. So they were as crap as we thought they were. Question, does Gettleman keep his job at the end of the year is mine. I think Joe Judge is safe, but Gettleman, are they going to get rid of him when they get two potentially top 10 draft picks next year?
He should
be both in trouble. I think they're both in big trouble, and I'll tell you why with Judge, right? What do we always say about, the tough coach, the asshole coach? When you're winning, they love you. Oh, my coach is an asshole, but you know what? We're winning Super Bowls, so I don't care. You know what? He's an asshole coach, but I don't care. As soon as you start losing, and I think we saw some cracks today in the Cowboys game. They were fighting, throwing punches, arguing with him on the sideline. When things go badly for a coach like Joe Judge, and I think he's a good coach, don't get me wrong, I actually do like him. But that attitude of, when Tony threw the punch, dumb of Tony. But he just came off a 10-catch, 190-yard game. Like, he throws the punch.
Yeah, pretty good game.
And Joe Judge is telling him, Joe Judge ejected him before the refs did. He said he wasn't sure yet. He was just like, no one on my team does that sort of stuff. Man, pick your battles. Pick your battles and pick them well, because Tony might be the best hope you've got, because he looked pretty good. And you haven't used him all year, which tells me that you don't like him on a personal level. That's why you don't play him a lot. And now injuries have forced you. That shit doesn't work in the NFL, because the players are your peers. You're not in charge of them like college. They're your peers. You got to work with them. And I know Joe Judge has come from the Bill Belichick system, but it just doesn't work for guys like that. Look at Matt Patricia, Brian Flores. Rumors he's already losing his team. So that's why I think they're both in trouble. And I think Gettleman and Joe Judge could be gone by the end of the year with a fresh quarterback in the top 4 picks and a fresh offensive-minded coach to go with him.
100%. J.A. Denver Broncos.
Exactly what we thought they were. And this is not necessarily a negative or a positive. They just are what we thought they were. They are a great defense. They've got good pass rush. Von Miller's back. Chubb's been hurt, but good when he plays. Reed, the backup's been good. Patrick Certain looks like a good pick. Simmons, the safety, is one of the best safeties in the league. They're good in that area, but then you go to the other side and they're not a bad offense. Like I wouldn't say they're terrible. They're just average, but they're not dynamic. Teddy Roosevelt brings nothing dynamic to the quarterback position. He doesn't run exceptionally well. He doesn't have an exceptionally powerful arm. He doesn't hit guys in stride perfectly. It's not because he's got elite accuracy. There's just nothing remarkable about him. And in the NFL, you want to be a good offense and you want to be a Super Bowl caliber team. You've either got to be just so good on defense, like almost historically good on defense to be a Super Bowl contender. And I keep going back, the Jags a few years ago, they lost an AFC Championship game because they were a historically good defense and then dropped off straight away. That's what happens. But they are exactly what I thought they would be. I think they can still make playoffs, but the defense is going to have to keep grinding it out. And it's really hard as a defense to keep knowing we're only going to score 20 points. And if we have a bad quarter and give up 3 touchdowns, we've basically lost the game. It's hard. So I think that's the issue there.
I'd argue with that. I've got the Texans.
Absolutely.
I think I said in the pre-game or pre-show at the start of the year, they're just devoid of talent. My God, is that true? Like, this cupboard is exceptionally bare. I mean, first off, poor old Tyrod Taylor. What does this guy have to do to catch a break? If his own medical staff isn't punching his lung with a lance, like, I just feel for this guy's whole career, he goes somewhere, like even when he went to the Browns, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, Tyrod's going to start with the Browns. Nope. They immediately draft a young quarterback. He gets injured and he's out again. This guy just has the worst luck. I probably should have seen this coming because it just happens everywhere he goes. Their leading rusher is Mark Ingram with 212 yards. We're going into week 5. Like, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not trying to rip on Mark Ingram. But, the next best is David Johnson with 72. Like, this team is just so short. Johnson. Oh, it's so bad. And Brandon Cooks is the leading receiver with 300 and almost 400 yards. But then next is Chris Conley with 124. And then David Johnson with 113. Like, what's going on here? Like, I just feel it must stink being a Texans fan when you just think back a handful of years ago where you've got an amazing quarterback who has some issues to now be this so fast. It happened so fast. Bill O'Brien just cleared everything out. You traded all your draft picks away.
Alabama. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's where all former Belichickians go afterwards.
He calls his old mate Nick and goes, "Hey, can you reset Big Bill's career for me? On his name."
Go
Question for you, Rich, though. Question for you about the Houston Texans. If Deshaun Watson stepped in this week, could he turn it around at all? Or is it actually that they are depleted everywhere, that a grade QB wouldn't be able to make a change?
It's a fair point.
They win 8 games with the Texans with Deshaun Watson.
I actually, I was going to say that, JA, but look at him last year. And they did have him. So I'm not sure. And I think the roster is worse. I think the roster is worse this year. So I really don't know. The places they stink are they're just the most obvious places. Like, their third down conversion rate is just awful. The number of first downs this year, they're like 3rd worst in the league. They just don't do anything well, except punt, because they've got an Australian punter. Other than that, and he gets plenty of practice. But other than that,
Cam Johnson.
He is good. He is good. They got 8 sacks on the whole year. Like, it's just every category. They're just awful.
Yeah,
poor bastards.
I was going to say poor pricks.
DJ, who is our New York correspondent, also now has the Jets.
Yes, I thought I would make it a bit of a theme with the New York theme, and thinking that I would not be happy to be a New Yorker at the moment watching football, unless it was one of my teams. So what my point is, because I wasn't part of the prediction show, is that I would have predicted once again that the Jets are projecting to ruin a young quarterback's career again. So my argument is Zach Wilson. He is now about to take over the actual sack record from Derek Carr, I believe, for the highest amount of sacks in a rookie season. David Carr, apologies, yes, the older brother, that he is going to take over that record as the highest amount of sacked quarterback in their rookie year. He just doesn't have any protection around him. With the Mekhi Becton that's obviously injured, they've tried to put things around him, and it's still not working. They've got a decent running back. They've got a pretty good offensive line when everyone's healthy. They were supposed to, on paper, have a pretty good defense. And unfortunately, they have stunk it up so badly. For me, it has to be now down to the coaching staff and the front office. They're just not winners. They're not there to actually win games, it feels like. And I think they're going to ruin Zach Wilson's career like they did my man Sam Darnold, who's having a good year finally when he got out of there. And the butt fumble Mark Sanchez was the number 1 overall pick they took back in 2000, and not say number 5 overall pick they took back in 2009. I just think that the Jets have their specialty is ruining young quarterbacks' careers.
Can I give you some? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Can I give you something on that sack record?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow is actually on pace to break that this year.
Is he really?
Yeah, and they're winning.
They are winning. He just doesn't get caught as often, or if he does.
You're saying the correlation to success doesn't matter if offensive line is good or not.
It was a couple of weeks ago. Like I saw that, so he might have had 2 better weeks. I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of Cincinnati football. But yeah, I thought it was surprising stat.
Absolutely. So that is for me is that I felt really bad for Zach Wilson. I thought he was one of the better QBs in this class, and unfortunately, I felt very sad for him going to the stinky Jets, and that is for all of my stinky New York fans. That is my hot take, and I think that I was 100% correct. Until Zach Wilson leaves and goes somewhere in 3 years' time, he's going to stink it up.
Fair enough.
I'd argue with that. JA.
I've gone a bit
CMC.
Player. Yeah, I've gone a bit player centric here. The big narrative in the preseason. Obviously, I'm a big Panthers fan at the moment. I'm a little bit flat about their loss to the Eagles today. That's a real crappy one to lose. But the big thing about the Panthers was, they've got some good pieces around them, but offensively, if they lose CMC, they're in trouble, and it's shown. Now, they lost CMC last 2 games ago. The Cowboys, they had some late scoring. They were, I think the Cowboys took the foot off the pedal a bit too much, and they paid for that. But then you see today against the Eagles, who are a very, very average defense, very average. They can just get nothing going. When they have to rely on Darnold, he's not the guy, and that's what everyone knows. He's not the guy. You can't have him be relied upon all the time. And CMC is the reason this offense moves in any direction. He's the reason that they're a good team, and they need him back. They need him back quick, because the narrative is 100% true, and that it is what we thought it was, that without him on offense, they are just nowhere near as good. Nowhere near as good.
Yep, Chuba Hubbard doesn't have the same pizzazz as CMC, unfortunately. And as we know from Sam Darnold, it is a very cool name. I just wanted to say it. But as we know from Sam Darnold is that he, from his entire career at USC and then at the Jets, he's always willing to pull the trigger. And that's why he had such a high interception rate. And unfortunately, if he doesn't have the players around him, he is going to start pushing the ball forward and actually making bad decisions, which he showed today. So I think you're right. CMC is the workhorse there.
This is just quietly on that. It's a bad loss for the Panthers, because
massive loss.
If they're going to take advantage of this great start they've managed to put together, you got to be beating teams like the Eagles. Like, the Eagles aren't nothing to write home about.
I'm real disappointed about it. Now they can still get it right. They've got the Falcons next week, Panthers, and then they've got the Cardinals. So they really need to get that win. Sorry, they got the Giants. I am so
I thought they had
the Vikings and the Giants, Falcons and Patriots. So they can still get it right, but they don't want to come out of this 4-4. They don't want to lose the next 4 and become 500, because then they're in real trouble down the stretch.
The last one to finish off with the Chargers, and I'll be relatively quick because I'm going to talk about them again in my game of the week. They're almost exactly what we thought they would be. They are really good and really exciting. And as we thought in the preseason, that hole is the defense. And I'm not saying the Browns are a bad offense, but to put those kind of numbers up this week wouldn't have been good for them. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. I tried to mute myself. So if you're watching online, you saw it, but if you're listening, you're like, "What is he talking for?"
That's funny.
Herbert is so much the real deal. We saw it
Generational talent.
almost. Oh,
Unbelievable.
we saw it almost
Unbelievable.
instantly when he started playing last year. Like, wow, I actually think this guy's got it. He has so got it, and he got it in spades. He's so special, and he's going to be their starter for a long, long time to come. And Dolphin fans must just be sitting back going, we haven't had a quarterback since Marino, and here we go again. We've picked the wrong one. Nothing must be more frustrating than being a fan of a team when they take a quarterback and you get the wrong one. If you're like Tampa when we took Winston and the other guy from Oregon who I'm going blank on, with the first and second picks,
Mariota.
I could watch them. Mariota. I could watch them both be bad, and then I didn't feel bad because then I'm like, oh well, if we took Mariota, we'd still be bad. But nothing must be more frustrating than poor old Dolphin fans having to watch Tua just be bloody awesome. Now, would he be that good with them because they have far better skill players, the Chargers, than the Dolphins do? I don't know, but like he just looks awesome. I love watching this Chargers team. Like they're so
very fun to watch. Eckler's fun. I like all of them. Mike Williams, just the resurgence of Mike Williams. Like finally, a guy's like, yeah, he's really big and fast and can catch the ball over anyone. Let's just get him on routes where we can throw it up to him and he can beat guys with physicality. It's like Anthony Williams, you never thought of this when the whole world was screaming at you. Mike Williams is big. Throw it to him in the air. And then Keenan Allen, so on. They're just, Rich, I couldn't agree with you more. I think this was what, as a collective, as a podcast collective, this is what we were all so right about. DJ with Herbert, us predicting.
That was a few years ago, I remember.
Hey, you copped a lot of flack. That was I've never fallen on a sword harder than I have for Justin Herbert, and I'm happy to fall on it because watching him play football, that motion, that flick when it comes from his elbow, it looks slow, but it's not, and then it just slingshots out. Like I just don't think I've seen such a pure. Like Mahomes is special because he throws it on all different platforms. That's what kind of Rodgers is like, and all the big quarterbacks. This guy is so special because he just stands there, bigger than everyone, and says, "I don't care if you're going to run into me. I am just going to sling this ball out, and then you're going to bounce off me. Like I'm just so much bigger." And see when he threw the pick today, I think he got called back. And he went and tackled the DB, and he flattened the DB, lowered his shoulder, and Herbert just crushed him and threw him about 5 yards. Like he's a full-grown man, and I said I am really sold on Justin Herbert, and he's fun to watch. What more do you want? You want fun football, and that's what the Chargers are. Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah, every time in that 4 p.m. window, you just go and find the Chargers games. You know it's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Games of the week as we continue to move on. JA, you are up first. You took the Lions and the Vikings this week.
I wanted to discuss this more from I've given the Lions a lot of shit. Like I've gone after him. I've gone after Campbell. He's biting kneecaps. And I thought like maybe he was a little bit full of crap. They lost on a 66-yard field goal last week, a game that they didn't deserve to lose. They should have won that game. The Ravens might have been 2 weeks ago. And then today they scored a go-ahead touchdown, got the 2-point conversion to take the lead with 35 seconds left. And they're celebrating. And it was a great drive. Goff looked good. The play calling was great. They were so excited. And then just to watch the Vikings quickly get into field goal range and then their rookie kicker nail a 54-yarder to beat them. And I want to apologize to Campbell because I think he needs to just chill a bit. But then I think that's genuinely just him. I think this is his, because in his press conference, he was crying. He was genuinely crying. He was
shattered.
And they were like, they were being nice to him, obviously, and saying, it's okay. And he's like, you know what? I just feel bad for my players. They fight so hard. I ask so much of them. They're working their asses off, and they've been in position to win 2 or 3 games, and they haven't got the reward. And I can understand as a player how that must just rip your heart out. Because whether Dan Campbell you think he was a good player or not, he played 12 years in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Shit players don't last 12 years in the NFL. Nope. And he was like a 3rd-string tight end special teamer. He did the hard stuff. He was in the trenches doing the dirty work, blocking tight end, so he's seen it and he's been around it. And then that raw emotion, I think in the past, like other coaches, like say if Kyle Shanahan came out like that, you'd be like, this is phony as shit. You know, if Russell Wilson came out like that, you'd be like, oh, this guy's just trying to get some clicks here. And I think it was so genuine that it made me, I actually felt sorry for them. I want the Lions to get a win because, you know, we talk about the Texans being devoid of talents like that. The Lions are pretty close in that area. They tried to do the right thing in the draft. Like they drafted Penei Sewell, which was a great move. I think he's going to be really good. They're trying to build the right way, yet they just don't have that top-end talent to compete with the good NFL teams. Yet they're in games and they're fighting and they're trying, and to have gut-wrenching losses like they have, their and with the history that club has, and he's not only, as if Richie, you were talking before the show, and you nailed it. It's like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. I feel like he does, because could you imagine the mentality of Detroit, that they are losers? They've never won a Super Bowl. They've never won one playoff game or something like that. Like they are just the loser club of the NFL, and they have been forever. He's got to not only turn around this team, which isn't very good, but then change people like me, like you, like our minds to think that Detroit can be good without a guy like Stafford, without anyone really. That must wear on you. So I really felt for him today, and this is why I wanted to discuss this game. Just not necessarily for the game. The Vikings deserved a close win. They've been as brutalized by that this year as well, but they deserve to probably get a field goal to win a game, but maybe just not against the Lions. I just don't think the Lions deserve that today, and I was gutted for him. And on the bright, very, very entertaining game. Although it was only 19-17, there were some good plays. Some guys made some things happen. Thielen's catches at the end on that final drive to get in position. Barely had a touch. I think he only had one catch up there. Had two catches to get in position to get that field goal. A young rookie kicking it. Kind of had all the pieces of it. It was just a really exciting, entertaining game, and left me shattered for the poor Lions.
They are a lot more entertaining to watch these days, that's for sure.
100%.
A lot more entertaining. They've lost two super quick late field goal losses. It's a record supposedly within the first 5 weeks that they lost when the 0-0 was on the time. So I feel really bad for the Lions. They are becoming more entertaining.
It's also one of the
Swift is good. I like him a lot.
Looking at the other side of the ball, the Vikings, their record could be completely reversed as well. Like it's two teams who've had multiple opportunities to win games this year and haven't been able to pull it out. As you said, Jay, Thielen's catches were clutch. They were not good throw. Well, sorry, one of them was good from Cousins. The other one was a real, hey, this just has to go there kind of throw, and he went and got them both. And as you said, talk about clutch from the rookie kicker. Bloody hell.
Balls of steel, man. Balls of steel.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Moving on, I couldn't help myself. They're two of my fanboy teams, the Browns and the Chargers. Everyone knows I love them. My fantasy teams are filled up with them as well.
Completely overloaded. Completely overloaded.
Way too many of them. This game, oh my God. This looked like a Big 12 college game. It's the kind of scoreline you expect where, you know, the Browns defense especially is not bad. Now they've got a lot of injuries coming in. They actually were missing something like 6 starters at the start of this game, including their left tackle. They had a rookie starting there. They're actually more injured than I'd actually realized, so I started to really dig into this game. That being said, though, this game was so damn entertaining. These two teams are really good. I actually think they're exceptionally well coached. The Chargers might have really found a guy. It's rare you take a defensive head coach these days. There can only be a handful in the league, like maybe 6 or 7 getting around. The rest would all be offensive-minded guys. And the Chargers, they're just humming. You know, those they just look so good. We mentioned them earlier, so I don't want to dig too deep into them. One, their new powder blues that have had that slight tweak to the uniform. Fuck, they're good uniforms. Like, you know, just as I said, you hit that 4 o'clock window, and you know the Chargers are going to be on most weeks, and they're the game you gravitate to. They're just so entertaining to watch. Also, that new LA Stadium is so good. I cannot get over there fast enough to see a game there. Really quickly with the Browns, both teams had their opportunity to win here, but to the Browns' credit, for those who didn't see this at the end, the Chargers could have kneed this game down and kicked a field goal.
This was hilarious.
Unbelievably, they handed off to Eckler, and Eckler clearly decided he was going to dance around a bit. When he got contact, he was going to go down. The Browns, being much smarter than that, literally picked up poor old little Eckler, who can't be more than 5'10", and threw him into the end zone and said, no, you don't. We're going to get another shot at winning this. And then the 2-point was not good. So give the Browns another chance. It was one of the most heads-up plays I've ever seen because clearly the Chargers said in the huddle, hey, just take a run and go down. The O-line didn't block anyone. Everyone kind of just stood up, including Eckler, which was his biggest mistake. And the Browns defense swarmed and just pushed him over the line. It was one of the funniest things. And I immediately thought, Christ, what a heads-up play. Because before it, I wasn't thinking it because all I was thinking was, hey, 3 needs a field goal, you win.
Absolutely.
So I actually think it was a little bit of bad coaching from the Chargers there. That should never have happened. As it turns out, Baker couldn't get him going down the field.
They shouldn't have given it to Eckler. They should have let Herbert take the snap and just backpedaled like a quarterback and then need
He should have just taken a knee. The Browns were out of timeouts. They genuinely could have kneed it and kicked that field goal. Now, as it turned out, Eckler being thrown to the end zone was very good for my fantasy team, so I'll take it. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys got to add to this, but these two teams are really good, and we're going to see them both in January.
Absolutely. Look, I might just add something quickly. I was watching a conversation on Twitter between a few, well, I thought they were, actual decent beat writers, and they were actually saying that both defenses played poorly today, and I thought that was actually a wrong comment because I think both teams' offenses are so talented and so heavily weighted. That is basically the whole idea of you guys are great, but we're going to be better. Our offense is that much better than your defense. So I actually thought it was an amazing show of offense today, and it had nothing to do with the defense being bad. And I just thought I'd reflect that because people see a high score line, they think the defense has played crap.
Yeah, stat of the week from this one. Browns are the first team to score 41 points and not have a single turnover and lose.
The Browns are going to get an easier schedule. They've played such good teams. They've played the Chiefs, the Texans, obviously, the Bears, and they've played the Vikings in Minnesota and the Chargers. Like they're pretty good teams they've played.
Yeah, they've got some softer games coming up, but also because their division is good. You don't get a powder puff game in division, which always makes it hard. DJ, you took the Packers and the Bengals came down to death.
I did take your Bengals. Look, I picked this game for my main reason is that I feel there's a theme across the past few weeks that we've seen in the NFL, and that theme is how important. Well, that is going to be one of my points, but the main point is that the actual kickers are so much more important than people give credit for. So there are so many games in the past 4 weeks that have been won or lost on the boot of their kicker, who is one of the lowest paid players on the field. For this week itself, it was obviously the Packers winning in overtime by 3 points against the Bengals. However, it was a pretty evenly matched game the entire time. I thought Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is having an amazing season and an absolute amazing connection. Like Chase, as an example, he actually he caught, 6 catches, 159 yards and a touchdown. He just looks absolutely electric. His yards after catch are sensational. Joe Burrow is just looking like a number 1 draft pick, I'm going to say, in his second year. He is looking talented. He is looking confident. The only thing that my concern with him is that he is running for his life constantly. I had the same concerns with Baker in his first year. You can't throw the ball if you're on your back. So I felt that the actual Packers front 7 didn't bring rush like they normally do. They actually didn't get pocket pressure like they normally do against quarterbacks. So I actually felt that they gave him a lot of time and he just could connect with people. T. Higgins had a good game as well. Joe Mixon, he had an average game. We only get to see him run one touchdown pass in around the edge. Otherwise, he was pretty quiet. It was a very vertical, concentrated game. Look, Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to spin much on Aaron Rodgers because he is who he is. He had a great game, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an unlikely interception in the first quarter. Otherwise, Jones, God, I'll tell you what, between Jones and Devontae Adams, who Rich thinks isn't an elite quarterback. My question to you, Rich, what would you call 11 catches, 206 yards, and a touchdown? Do you think that's mediocre?
I never said he was mediocre. I said maybe he's not an elite wide receiver. And as it was coming out of my mouth, I didn't feel great about it.
He wasn't elite.
This was the dot point I was getting to.
I'm just saying there's a lot of receivers. If they got that kind of service, they'd put those numbers up too.
206 yards and a touchdown. Look, I thought that he just had a day out, and that is with Aaron Jones stealing half of his looks.
I don't know what you consider a day out. Yeah, that's it. That's definitely.
I'd say that's probably it, mate, from an elite receiver. Now, I just want to bring your attention to the 2 minutes and 14 seconds at the end of the game. For anyone who hasn't watched it, go back and have yourself a laugh. There were 5 field goals missed between both teams within literally 2 minutes and 14 seconds at the end of the game. The glue that is keeping Crosby behind, he actually missed. He missed, look, to be honest, missing field goals isn't a hard thing. He missed a 51-yard field goal, and that happens. However, McPherson then goes and misses a field goal, and then Crosby gets the field goal. Well, that's the last one. So McPherson doinked it. And look, to be honest, it'd be harder to actually kick the post than it is to go between them. So you'd forgive him for that. However, in overtime, you should get 4. Exactly right. But I tell you what, Crosby, who is just one of the oldest players in the NFL, he could be everyone's dad. He missed so many field goals, it was crazy. The actual overtime, McPherson kicked a field goal from 54 yards, and he then celebrated, jumped into the arms of his placeholder, and he was the most devastated of anyone I've ever seen. Because not only did he not just win, he lost.
It hit the flag flying out to the right, and then he argued the point.
A yard.
Nah, it was off.
It was the most heartbreaking.
It was like limp off to the side, and it went through it. And he argued with his coach that it should have been a field goal. The coach is like, "You're a fucking
mate,
idiot."
you didn't get it through the big sticks, buddy.
No.
Do you want to hear something funny about Crosby? My favorite stat. He's like one of the oldest dudes in the NFL. He's like 6 years younger than Brady.
Look, that is good.
That is such a lie. He's not.
No, he is.
How old is? No, he's not. He's not older than.
Yes,
that's crazy. So basically, the actual moral of the story is that your kicker is extremely important. Oh my god, that is much younger than Brady.
Told you.
So yes, that's the end of the story between the Bengals and the Packers. To be honest with you, pay your kicker.
Did you hear when Crosby lined up for the last one that he actually kicked, the game winner? He said, "Who's the coach?" I've forgotten the Packers coach name. Anyway, he said to his head coach,
LaFleur.
Yeah. He said, "All right, we're going to kick it." And he goes, "Don't worry, I got this." And he turned around and said, "You're fucking better." I know you've got it. You've just missed 3 game winners. About like 1 in 4 is not bad, you reckon?
But that's the actual most bizarre thing is that each of them had 2 game-winning kicks each.
Unbelievable.
It has been just on. It's been a bad few weeks for kickers, and you've got so much of the NFL looking for them. Like even in the Chargers game, their kicker missed 2 extra points.
Yeah.
Now they pulled it out in the end, and they got a 2-pointer back later on. But this, like, I'm joking. Oh, they're gonna have to find a new quarterback, a new kicker. But it's like half the league is looking for new kickers. Like it's a real that and D-backs. My God, all the good D-backs are injured.
Absolutely.
And the way Tampa's going, I feel like we're going to be like calling up Revis Island, seeing if he's still available the rate we're going, because there's not much out there.
That'd be gold if Darrell Revis went to play for the Bucks. There'd be nothing better. Terrence Newman, hey Terrence, you come give us a couple of years.
At this point, I'll just about take them because they'll be on the phone to you in a minute. Like we're going through them like it's going out of style.
I would never play D-back.
You're not a very good back peddler, that's for sure.
No, I would never do that. That would be the most crucifying position in football is D-back. Stuff that.
Upset of the week. It will be quick because we have mentioned them earlier. Eagles 21 got over the top of the Panthers 18. JA, a couple of words.
Panthers had complete control of this game. I'm watching it thinking, oh, they're home. There's no way the Eagles come back. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts is running in for his second touchdown to beat him. Darnold's throwing his 3rd pick. And I was like, that's just terrible loss for the Panthers. Not a great win for the Eagles. This was a terrible loss for them. They will regret this come end of the season.
DJ.
Yep, absolutely. For me, the Eagles, they played okay and the Panthers played bad. It wasn't a very fun game to watch, but the Eagles were able to get a win. And in that stinky NFC East division, a win is huge. So for me, I couldn't believe the Eagles got that.
Yeah. For mine, the
4-1 Cowboys.
Yeah. For mine, the Panthers, they're a quirk of the schedule and they're blowing it. You can't be dropping those games. If you want to be the
Agreed.
quirk of the schedule team, there's one every year, and you're probably going to be it. Can't go dumping games to the Eagles, who most people think are pretty ordinary. Finishing off Monday night preview, or not preview, really picks. Game tomorrow is the Colts are at the Ravens. The Colts are gagging for a win. I'll start with you, DJ. Who you got?
Ravens by 2 scores. Easy win. They're not going to break a sweat.
JA.
I don't have a feeling or anything. The Ravens should definitely win this game, but the Colts are kind of backed into a corner. I feel like maybe. No, that's I'm stupid. Ravens will win. Ravens will win. I don't know why. I don't know what I was trying to convince myself of then. The Ravens are way better, and the Colts are just not that good.
I also think the Ravens will win. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I actually think the AFC South is actually turning out to be not too flash. And with the injuries to key people with the Colts, I kind of think their season's over. And that brings us to the end of today's show.
Yeah, I'll just quickly wrap up. This is the Patreon helmet for this month. This is Burt Jones. He was number 7, 76 MVP, played for the Colts. It's the old school Colts helmet, the Pro line. It's actually really cool. Got a little card in there just so you kind of can put it on display and know who it is, trying to get the light out of it. But really cool little helmet. That's our patrons this month. Some real cool ones coming up as well. So thank you to all our patrons. If you're interested in being a part of it, it's $10 a month. You get into a break, a draw. Yeah, first and second prize. You pick between a helmet or a box of beer and a stubby holder from Burnley Brewing. So really good prizes. We're only a couple. We're 2 off giving away 2 signed memorabilia items per month. So sign up, guys. Get your friends to sign up and get yourself those 2. But that's the one for the month. Thank you to Burnley Brewing, our good friends. Richie holding up the Wit Me Away, which is actually surprising. I didn't think I'd like that one, but I really do like it. It's good.
It's
Very
not.
good.
It's certainly not what I expected it to be. It is described. It's traditionally brewed with orange peel.
But it's good. It doesn't sound good, but it's really, really good. I'm sure if you're a big
Is it
fan,
citrusy?
It's not like you think it would be. It's not like their Berliner or anything like that.
Imagine if
I
you
like
have
that.
Much like it's a good
Coke with orange. It's like just subtle. It's not overpowering orange. It's nice.
Let me paint a picture for you, DJ. It's 8 p.m. It's the middle of January. Not quite Australia Day weekend yet, but it's heading there.
Getting close.
It's still 31 outside. You crack
hot,
a couple of these.
Balmy.
Fantastic.
That's
what it is.
Lovely. Bring on freaking January, I tell you.
January. Hopefully at that point, we're all allowed to sit together.
I was going to say, we could actually
even do
sit
it in
around.
person.
Yeah, we might be able to do it in person, not hide in parks like everyone else. But yeah, that's it, guys. Also, Dark Horse Electrics. You need anything electrical, call Dylan at Dark Horse Electric. He's an absolute legend. And our good friends at US Sports Gear, run by someone, don't know, get after him if you want any football equipment in Australia, helmets, shoulder pads, visors, girdles, gloves, replica college helmets, anything you want, they have got it. ussportsgear.com.au. Boys, thank you as always. Absolutely love your work. Make sure everyone checks out the college football podcast, which came out last night. The recap, big week of college football, really big week. Aaron and Will both said best week they've ever watched of college football without being in the States. That's how big they thought it was. So Richie, listen in and find out why. You might be surprised.
It's all scripted.
Podcast later. This all scripted. It's all fake.
There a lot of ranked teams went down.
Yeah, a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, top 5 ones. So you've got fantasy football later this week, and then the Sunday show will be back this weekend. So make sure you tune in. Thanks everyone who has been tuning in. The content's been pretty good, and we really appreciate you guys listening and all your feedback and your interaction, particularly on the Sunday Night Live show. It makes it a lot of fun. I'm sure you can attest, DJ. It's good fun hearing about your diploma. It's great fun. But we'll see everyone next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Cheers.